Hey everybody, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Tuesday. We're going to talk about 90 Day Fiance, Happily Ever After, Season 8, Episode 12, Pornocchio. And you guys, normally I have Kimberly from A Date with Dateline here, but guess what? She's at CrimeCon, guys, and Kimberly and Katie won Creator of the Year at CrimeCon. So everybody reach out to them and give them a huge congratulations. I'm very proud of my throuple. But today I've got another throuple here. You guys don't know how many throuples I'm in. This is my other throuple. This is Chris and Wah from DocuSweeties. Thank you guys for joining me to talk about this episode.
Hi.
Yay. Hi.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're so pumped. We love talking with you, and this was actually a really great episode. We really enjoyed it, and it's been like a whatever season, especially in comparison to how great Love in Paradise is. And yeah, and The Other Way, the trailer just dropped for The Other Way coming up, and obviously UK has been happening, so it's just been so much. We can really be picky.
Yeah. Except I'm not. I cover everything, and
we're not picky. Yeah, we just do it
and
all.
what we enjoy. Yeah, picky in our discretionary of what we'll tolerate as a great episode from the 90 Day Multiverse.
When you guys saw the title Pornocchio, what did you think it was in referring to?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know that was the title.
Pornocchio.
Yeah. That's I mean, it's a fairy tale, so that makes sense. That's been the theme for this season.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pornocchio. What? Oh, it's lying. What's his name? Gino. Gino lying about porn.
Right. But when I first saw it, before I saw the episode, I thought, oh, it must be about Rob because Rob's got the porn addiction.
I know.
But no, what a twist. It was about Gino.
What a twist.
What a twist.
The theme is some fetish. It's some kink shaming fetish shit. I mean, like they're really getting into like the nitty gritty of what is considered, like shameful, maybe, but not really, male sexual behavior, like either online or whatnot. I mean, because it's not shameful if Rob likes a muscular woman. It really isn't. But like,
totally.
Yeah. He took it like it meant that someone was like, well, you're gay and it's 1950. Oh,
yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do the piece and then
obviously,
whatever, guys. I agree with that. Listen, Jasmine and Gino's, everything about them is so fake. They come up with every conversation beforehand, and I'm so sick of their fakeness. Like,
yes,
take them off our TV. Take them off.
Oh, yeah, take them off just for the screaming.
I mean,
I can handle. It's the screaming that is like crazy.
I mean, I do love to look at Jasmine because she is so pretty.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Interesting take.
Okay.
I mean, Thais is beautiful. Thais is gorgeous. Yeah, like I can look at Thais all day. I can hear her make her like little frustrated noises. Like, like she really like will do something very Jurassic if she's upset. You know what I'm saying? Like all day long I can take that in. And I even like Patrick's little face, like I enjoy all of it.
He's big. His little face.
His little squished face.
Yeah, I'm such a big person,
Yeah.
I love it.
You know who was so beautiful this week on Love in Paradise was Annie's friend, her yoga friend.
Steph.
Oh, she was pretty.
Steph does yoga every goddamn day. Steph has the skin of like Hailey Bieber. You know what I'm saying? Like Steph. Yeah. But also Steph is weird because Steph learning about Kyle was like, oh, I think you should give him a chance. And then Steph meeting Kyle, we're like, well, we'll see now what's happening. And Steph was like, oh, okay, yeah. And I want to be like, Steph, are you seeing what we see? Like, do you see what we see? Like,
do you hear what we hear?
Exactly.
Do you smell what I'm sure Annie is smelling? In my mind, Kyle is like just allowing whatever natural odors to happen. And it's like he doesn't use any soaps that have anything in them because he doesn't want to mess up his sperm.
Yes.
So like it's an earthy, natural, non-sexy smell of a man who wears too tight clothes and yeah.
That's a hot take, but I agree with it.
Yeah.
I agree with it.
Hot smelly take. It's a hot smelly take.
And you guys, I will apologize for my voice if you've listened this weekend or this week. It's on the decline, and I'm sorry. I've been very sick, and I did send a text message to my doctors this morning like, hey, guess what? 5 days on steroids and antibiotics. Not better, getting worse. Send help. SOS. Okay.
An IV. Get an IV.
I mean, I need a throat transplant. Like, it's really hurts to talk. And so,
let's get through this. Let's get through this for you.
Let's do this. Let's do this, and let's don't talk about how sick I am. Okay. Also, at some point, the dogs will bark because, working at home. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Patrick and Thais, speaking of beauty. So we start with John is spending the night at their place. By the way, that's like a 2-bedroom place. It's pretty big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they have a whole conversation about, like, why doesn't he clean the dishes? But turns out, like, he didn't even use a dish. He was eating birthday cake with his hands.
Yeah, he bear pawed like salmon out of a river. The very moist Brazilian birthday cake that they all keep talking about. We kind of, Mary Payne, like, what the fuck is in that birthday cake? Why is that birthday cake? Why is Brazilian birthday cake it? Why is everyone like, this is different than everything else? This is the thing. For some reason, we never had birthday cake until we've had this Brazilian birthday cake. It feels different, tastes different. Like, I'm just like, what is it? But yeah, he catches and right into the mouth. I mean, he looks bananas,
Yeah, a fork. I mean, it's just right there. It's a small kitchen. Just open the drawer.
Well, it's because he did not want to wash dishes. These are the tricks of lazy people who don't want to wash dishes. So they just use their hands.
Their hands. Yeah.
So he knew for sure it wasn't him.
Yeah, he was like, he's like, I'll wash the dishes, but I just eat with my hands, like the animal that I am. So they're going to check out Dad Jose's ranch today. They want to see if it's a good spot to have the party for baby Elise. And Thais says she's not into having the party at Jose's because Jose will end up charging Patrick or asking something of Patrick. And also it's like super far out of the city. Okay, now they're driving and Thais has to pull over to pee in a bodysuit. You guys, she'll just take all the clothes off behind the car.
Yeah. Everyone's like, John, this is really like a buddy com kind of travel thing between John and Thais, where they're really connecting on so many things. They both hate Patrick's dad. I mean, viscerally and specifically, and like think that he's doing him no good. And they both love Patrick, obviously. And then also B, they'll both pee anywhere, wherever, whenever, wherever, whenever. Like where it hits, they pee. Like if it's a place, they can pee. If they can stand, they'll be peeing. She squats, she pees. She pees on her feet, and the joy that it gives her, like the utter joy, like I've never seen her so happy. She was like, oh, I peed on my feet. Like, you're like, wow, girl. Like,
she got in the car and like showed her wet shoes. She was like, look at that.
That's disgusting. But here's something that's not disgusting. I just looked up a recipe for Brazilian cake, and let me tell you why it's so good and moist.
Okay.
Because it has 1 can of sweet condensed milk. It has 14 fluid ounces of milk, 2 eggs, unsalted butter, white sugar, and then flour and baking powder. It's very simple.
It's the condensed milk that does it.
It's the condensed milk, and it's the milk. That's what makes it moist. Listen, I'm going to have to make this because guess what? I have all of these items in my home.
Oh, okay. Well, later on it'll be TikTok with Wah, and we'll watch
Go live.
What a pioneer woman you are.
Yeah, I'm gonna make this. Don't worry, people who follow us on DocuSweeties on TikTok. You'll see.
It'll be out later.
Yeah.
So, John says he really wishes Patrick would put his foot down with Jose, but Patrick has such a big heart. Excuse me. So they arrive at Jose's ranch, and Patrick's like, this is a great place for a party. There's tons of space. We can get the animals together for a petting zoo. You guys, when John hugs Jose's like, oh my God, John, the look that he gives him when he hugs him, I mean, that is some childhood trauma shit. Like, he hates him.
Yeah.
Hates him. He's like, and he goes, I'm big now, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There is definitely some shit going down. And I mean, I could tell Jose wasn't shit. You know what I mean? The fact that you marry a woman and then you have a kid by her and then you just like bounce, like that's ain't shit behavior. But John is really like, yeah, no, your dad is a scammer and he's always been a scammer and always will be a scammer. And it's what brings John and Thais, Payne in my ass, together is that their mutual dislike of Jose. And again, Jose shows us how much of a scamming ass scammer he is. Like anyone can get it. And even his own flesh and blood.
It's sad though, because you could see that little sad boy, in Patrick, that he just wants to impress his dad. And you can see John as the brother being like, this isn't my dad. I don't give a shit. You know, it was something. When he said, I'm big now, you thought, something went down in that house.
Yeah.
They talk about in a passing comment that Jose would buy them something and then 3 months later just sell it. Like, can you imagine if like on Christmas you were like given the thing, when it's like a big deal, and then 3 months later it's just like stolen and stolen, stolen is what I said. It's like, that's definitely sold. But yeah, like that, honestly, I love John now for being here. Like, I didn't like John on Single Life for a bunch of reasons. A, because he was boring, so much more boring than you thought he was going to be. And B, not single. He was with that sleepy girl, and Riva, and I kind of do wish that he could like reference them at all. Like in this moment, just so that the like timeline makes sense, like as if this is Game of Thrones and we're like getting the offshoot. Like I want them to like reference his life and for us to be like, ooh, yeah. Because right now, like right now you're here, but you could be in Texas, right? But I don't think he's actually in Texas yet. Like I think anyway.
This was filmed before or whatever. Yeah.
So he's not engaged yet. Anyway, but he always is like a fun side character, like because he is lovable and he's a nuisance, like a livable nuisance, creating chaos wherever he goes. But in this case, it's like almost written where you're like, he's the good guy in this. We don't trust, Jose. And to be trusted, because Jose is like, oh, we got to get the rocks done here. We have to get the trees cut. And it's like, no, we absolutely do not, for this like child's party. And he's like, well, what am I going to get out of this? And he's like, you're going to host your granddaughter's party. Like, this isn't like, not everything has to be like, well, how do I make money then? And it's like, well, bitch, you fucking own apartment buildings with like 2-bedroom apartments in there. Like, what are you doing? Like, where is the money going? Is it like, I mean, honestly, it feels like, is there some extra fees you have to pay because there's like some, nefarious business around in like a mafia kind of way or something? Like, what is happening? There's just like, it's not adding up. As the kids say.
I agree. Because right when he arrives, Jose's like, we could do tables here, but we're going to do like rocks for this wall. I'm going to need to paint. I'm going to need rocks. I'm going to need a tree trimmer. And Thais and John are like, how are rocks and tree trimming going to help the party? And he goes, because Thais is like, we still have to buy the food and everything for the party.
Tables,
and and Jose goes, well, I mean, I'm not going to charge you to use the place. And John goes, it's your home. So fuck no, you're not going to charge them.
Yeah.
And that's when Jose goes, how do you think I make money? Like, I don't have cash, but I have properties. And John says, so you have cash coming in, but you put it at other places. And for a man with no money, you have some nice clothes. I was like, does he have nice clothes? But Jose says, I don't know what the deal is with John. We always had a problem with communication. And Patrick is my son. And if he won't help me, who will? That's not how that works. That's not how that works.
Yeah, that's not how that works at all. He has no sense of that. Also, who's coming to this party? Who's driving 2 hours out to this ranch to go hang out and for this 1-year-old's birthday? I mean, maybe all of Thais' family, but like, is it that many people?
And
I just don't get it.
Also, just like host them. Why does it have to be a money-making venture? You're hosting, like I'm having John's grad party here next week for my son. Should I charge people admission? That's get crazy. To come and stay in my backyard. I mean,
I will go to my parents' house right now. I will get on a plane, fly to California, go to my parents' house right now, invite a bunch of people over and be like, hey, parents, we're having a party. That is what I do every time I go to LA.
Yeah.
Every time. I just like invite people to my parents' house. My parents are never like, oh, blah, 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 blah. They know
what
that
if your parents were like, that's $300?
Absolutely
rental
not.
Fee,
Absolutely not. This is our house. I don't live there, but this is still our house.
Right.
And me and you guys are doing a party. So what are you putting on the grill and what are you baking? Those are my 2 questions.
It's for his grandchild. I mean, that's what I don't get. So Thais says to Jose, like, why do you ask for so many things? Like, why do we have to support you? And he says, I need the money in the apartment and I need the money and the apartment supports me. And Patrick goes, yeah, there's nothing wrong with helping out family. Like Patrick is like so conflicted. And John goes, I smell bullshit. Mm-hmm. And Patrick says, look, the money means more to him than it means to us. And then John says, why do you expect so much from him, meaning Patrick, when you weren't there for him? And Jose's like, oh, well, don't say that because that's not true. And then Taya says something like, because you're thinking like, well, is Jose really broke? And Taya says, if he really needed the money, just like if my dad really needed the money, we would gladly give it. But he just knows that Patrick has a lot of money and is like a sucker. And he's always thinking Patrick is like a bank. Mm-hmm. And that's sad for Patrick because, I mean, he grew up with this like shitty dad and some shitty stepfathers. And now in his older years, he's trying so hard to impress his dad. Like, yeah, dad, I got you. But his dad's a scammer. It's sad. It's sad. And I loved John's just like, I got you, motherfucker. I clock in this.
Yeah, it was very redeeming for him. And then, I feel bad for Patrick because it's like he gets no fatherly love from anyone, like Thais's dad is like, you're not shit, you little bastard, all the little things he says about him, it's sad. But and Patrick is shit. I mean, he's not shit. He's better than shit. He's great is what I was trying to say just so awkwardly.
He is the shit.
Yeah, you're right.
He is the shit, not shit. Yes.
But I feel like John is trying to fulfill that father role. But I don't think John takes advantage of Patrick. I think John hanging around Patrick is him trying to take care of him.
Patrick
even though John like seems and feels like a hanger on, I think that John is trying to fulfill that big brother role and like really likes Patrick and wants to hang out with him and like I love their relationship because I think it's probably the most sturdy, if we can call it that, for the men in his life. So
okay,
let's remember Patrick will tell John what's up too. Like John isn't like not able to like get shit back to him. Anyway, okay, that's what I would say.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to some non-sturdy people with some terrible relationships, and that's Angela and Michael. Listen, you got me on a good day. I can do a real good Angela impression with the way that my voice sounds. I sound like Angela that's been in Vegas for 5 days. That's what I sound like.
Smoking.
Oh, God. So we open up with, she stormed off. And after she's, once again, ripped something out of his hand, we're just waiting on her to like hit him over the head with her purse.
Sure.
And she stormed off. You've clocked her nails, right? I sent you a picture.
Yes.
So she's smoking by a dumpster or something or wherever she should be by a dumpster. Michael says, look, I'm just trying to get to the States so we can be one family. And he's trying to talk to her. And he's like, I'm pissed about that this happened, but we have to give the embassy time to work. And she was like, I'm mad because you're the one that moved the interview from Lagos to Abidjan, not them. And you did it all behind my back and you lied. Mm-hmm. So she just hops in a taxi all angry. The taxi happens to have a GoPro in it. Okay? Every time I'm like, come on, guys, at least make it a little. All right. She gets home and calls Skyla. And she says, Skyla, they said they are investigating the K1 denial, and he slipped up, Skyla, and he told me they're investigating the denial, and then he told me I could just go home. And then he told me that he didn't move that interview from Lagos to Abidjan, but he did. He was the one that moved it. And Skyla said, Mama, it's always something. He's probably always been a scammer the whole time, and he can't use you if you don't allow him to, Mama. He's not worth hanging on to someone who cheats on you and lies to you, Mama. And she's just yelling, I'm so confused. Skyla's the hero because she's at home raising her own kids, her sister's kids, taking care of that house. We got Mimo on the trampoline. Like, my God, poor Skyla.
Where is Scotty?
She's in prison.
She's still in prison?
I thought she was released. And then I thought that people had said on the streets that they had seen her in like an Angela Thanksgiving video or something like that, like real fast. And so I always wonder when I see Skyla like on a FaceTime if I can just like see Scotty in the background, just like, like.
I would imagine Scotty's not allowed to be around children. So legally.
I would think so too, but do I trust all of these people to like be handling and dealing with the law, the way the law says? No.
Well, that's true.
Not with the law.
Not with the law.
Not with the law. No,
I didn't even know she was out. So you're one step ahead of me.
Okay. Yeah, the whole situation is batty, but the Skyla being not Team Michael from the jump and staying not Team Michael has been the best part of it. the best part of it, she's like, well, Mama, you need to trust, he's a scammer, Mama. And it's just like, she's like, that's what I'm saying, Scotty. I mean, Scholar, I don't even know what this man is doing. I tell you, I'm not doing it for another 7 years. I tell you, I did it for 7 years, and I'll do it without for 7 years. Like, she is just so...
Yeah, she really thought that line was going to hit, by the way. She was like, this line is going to hit.
Yeah. It's kind of like the saying, like, I'm your mother, I brought you into this world, I can take you out. Like, whenever my mom said that to me, I was like, so you think that you could kill me because you brought me?
So, that comes from the Bill Cosby stand-up. Okay. Bill Cosby had that stand-up, and you guys are younger than me, but there was a great Bill Cosby stand-up that he did, and he had, these books and all this about what a great dad he was, and, raping women on the side and whatnot, allegedly. And, he had this stand-up where this is the thing that he said to his son: I brought you into this world and I can take you out. So that's where your mother gets it from. And Dave, my husband, thinks that's a funny line as well. And he quotes it. And I'm like, let's not invoke the name of Bill Cosby in this home. And also, are we threatening to kill our children? Because why is that funny?
Yeah. Also, you will not get away with it. Like, they'll come and get you. Just like they would anyone else.
Why is that funny?
Yeah. So I don't mind when she used to say that, I would be like, I don't understand. You think that this is hitting? It's not. Right. It's not working in the way you think it's working, because I know that you will go to jail. This isn't like 1940s Mississippi. You can't just take me out and nobody will care because they don't care about when blacks go missing. Now, Angela is so infuriating to me, and I want her off my television screen.
Yep.
So bad, because the representation of American women, I mean, it fully doesn't represent me at all. That's not my culture, but she is just the worst. And I wish that TLC would take her off of our screen.
I wish they would have been cut out of this season like we were hoping.
Yeah.
And then when we got the word, when the word came down that they were actually going to come on, it was just going to be closer to June. We were like, oh, come on. I thought you guys were cutting them out of the whole season. Like, give us more John and Patrick and Thais. Give us more Emily and Kobe. Like, we don't need more of these people. Like, we don't. Yeah. And by the way, they've now been on every single show, so we're done with shows with them. Like, they've even been to Therapy Island. Like, they don't.
Last
resort.
Yeah, we don't need. Yeah,
we don't need them anymore.
We don't need them. So she says to Michael, she says with Michael, the lies never stop. And now she wonders, is he scamming me? She has to get to the bottom of it. So Michael knocks on the door and walks in. And of course, immediately she goes into the verbal abuse. Sit down, sit down, sit down. And so he says, first of all, I'm sorry about what happened today. Okay. We just have to wait for the outcome. And she says, you will not sit no more and lie to me no more. You good night, go to bed. You sleep there. You still my husband. I got respect enough to put you here on the couch. But if you got to piss, hang it out the door. And she's just so gross. She's just so gross.
Vulgar. She's vulgar.
Mm-hmm.
And so he says, I don't know. She won't listen to me. And I don't know why I'm to blame for everything. And it doesn't matter who moved the interview. What matters is the final result. It's just going to take 2 weeks for the MC to review it. And I need her to trust me that I'm doing it for both of us. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but Michael has now escaped his captor and is in the world. And I think great. Mm-hmm. I think if he's been scamming her the whole time, nobody deserves it more. He played a long con and he got to America. He can wear all the MAGA shirts he wants and just good.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy for Michael. And he's like, I don't know why Angie does not trust me in this. We are doing it for our family. And, I will sleep here with her. But, I want to eventually get to Donald Trump.
He's so good.
I love Michael, and I'm so happy for all of his TikTok lives. Like, Angela is dissolving right now on social media because Michael has so much support and love, and his TikTok is doing well. And hers, she's just like, I see y'all motherfuckers talking about me. It's like, girl, nobody wants to see you. First of all, every time someone shows me her bottom lip and this bottom denture row about to fly out, it upsets me.
It's everything about her is upsetting, and we're done. TLC, hear our prayers. Okay. Summer is here and your wardrobe needs an upgrade, right? Sort of like my voice needs an upgrade right about now because I've been sick. But guys, I still have to tell you about my favorite, which is Quince. Look, you got to go to Quince. You can't go to these flimsy, fast fashion places. You got to spend your money wisely and get staple pieces like high quality essentials that are going to last. Okay, every time I come on here, I tell you guys what I recently got at Quince, and guess what I got? I got a little suitcase. It's a rolling carry-on size suitcase. It's perfect. It is literally identical and half the price to other brands of suitcases. And I got the cutest linen dress. It's short sleeves. It's navy. It's got little buttons down the front and some sort of pin tucks. It is cool and light for the summer, and I'm so excited about it. You guys, they have the most gorgeous, like washable silk summer dresses and skirts, and they have these great tank tops. And you guys, don't sleep on the jewelry, because I went over there. I mean, I got my eyeball on a couple of things, and now I'm talking like diamond rings and stuff, guys. They have some really great stuff, and they've got these woven leather handbags that look exactly like a certain designer, and that is 1/15 of the price probably. My God, this stuff is gorgeous. So upgrade your closet this summer with Quince. Right now, you're going to go to quince.com/pinkshade. You're going to get free shipping and 365 days to return your next order. That's quince.com/pinkshade for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/pinkshade. Let's move on to Sophie and Rob. So, I mean, I don't know how long ago this was filmed because Sophie still has blonde hair. I mean, was it filmed a year ago?
Yeah.
Because, geez. So, now look, we did get the return of Tarai, who is so hot. You don't think he's hot?
Why? He is hot. He's annoying as fuck, but he's hot.
You know what? I have a hard time. Like, he's not hot enough for me to think that his personality, like, he's not hot enough for me to override his personality. So it makes him ugly to me. Like, I just am like, get off my screen.
He's hotter than Rob, though. You know, like if you walk into a bar and then both men were like, you'd be like,
oh yeah. Well, no, I mean, the reason why I don't look at Rob is because I don't trust light-skinned men, like, from the jump. Like, I think that they think they're cute. And so he definitely has, I'm light-skinned and I have light eyes. So I think I'm the baddest in the room, and I don't like that energy. So I would automatically look at somebody else.
Okay, that's interesting because, I mean, I do think Rob is good looking, but I don't think he's as good looking as he thinks he is.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. But Tarai, on the other hand, can get it. I think he's hot.
He looks like he looks 20 years older than him, you know? Like there's just a little bit more of like a kind of
man. He's more of a man vibe.
Yes.
So I think Tarai also has like a steady job. So
yeah, what you're seeing is poverty on Rob. That's what you're seeing. We've already seen him in his space with no bathroom, and so you're tainted by the stench, or not stench. You're tainted by the poverty that surrounds Rob, because he's so quick to be like, I want a girl that's down to earth. Read, I want a girl who doesn't expect me to have money.
Yeah. But I've seen Rob, you know, and his job seems to be like he drives a truck delivering like Pete's Coffee or whatever to restaurants is what it looks like he does. So that's good. He has a job like working for, you know, Frito-Lay or whoever owns that, you know. So that's good. And he's in Austin, so that's less expensive than LA. So all these things are good. Trying to be positive. So Rob tells Tarai that he's really thinking about moving back to LA because the only reason he moved to Austin was so he and Sophie could start a new life together. And he hadn't talked to her since she stormed out yesterday. And he loves her, but he hates this. He's tired of it. And he's like, yeah, she's staying at Kay's house. And Tarai goes, I don't know, man. Maybe she's just not invested as you are. And what? And so, no. And so then Rob kind of indicates like, well, we haven't been, you know, having any physical contact. Like we haven't been banging it out. And then of course Tarai says, well, then she must be getting elsewhere.
Yeah.
No, that's not generally how girls work. Not generally. No. If you're not getting it from your husband, that doesn't mean you're getting it elsewhere. It just means you're mad at your husband. Yeah. You know, you don't have to jump to cheating. I don't think, you know.
Well, they're young and stupid. So this is where this thought pattern comes from. I mean, it is concerning that they're not having sex. They don't have kids.
They're so young and
they're
attractive.
so young and virile, you would seemingly. But she says it's because he, is attracted to a different type of woman, which may or may not be true. But that I mean, I'm concerned for them too. Like, to be honest, a full year with somebody, and maybe that just shows how horny I am. But like, I don't know that I would just like
what? Okay. No, I'd be upset.
It seems like they would at least just be like, all right, well, I don't really like you, but we could bang it out,
Yeah, especially if they think each other are hot.
Yeah.
Like, or if like the penis fits in the vagina just right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way, even no matter how mad I am, if the penis fits in the vagina just right, I'm there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they've gone to the sex shop now twice, and they haven't had sex, which is like LOL. And then, also, they have now accused her twice before of cheating on him. One because of Callum, one because of Kay, and so all they do is accuse her of cheating. And all she does is accuse him of cheating. Like, all they do is just like, like, you're cheating on me on the internet. He's online obviously cheating. Horny. It's funny because if it's not, again, he and Gino are both having their like sexual lives aired out on this episode in such a way, and previous episodes. Gino in a wild way, like Gino and Jasmine's like openness for what's happening and not happening in their sexual lives have been like a pendulum shifting back and forth, where it's like we pee on each other, and then it's like he will touch me. You're like, I'm sorry. What?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. What? And with them, it's like we fuck when we're in costume. Just kidding. We don't fuck. It's just it's confusing. But I will say that it does feel like she doesn't trust or feel secure with him, and then doesn't feel sexy because of that. And he is just an insecure person and has been the entire time.
Yes.
And like, therefore can't give her that. And so she's never going to feel it. And she's always going to be upset about it. And he's always going to feel, insecure because he's not going to make her happy. And so it's a really messy situation. And that's not even talking about the trauma that she has in her life because of what we know, which is like a fucked up mom and the parentification that Claire did. And we obviously can fast forward into now, knowing if this was like filmed a year ago, that it's been really shitty and messy since of what they aired on the internet. So I feel so bad for her, obviously.
Yeah. And I mean, I think Rob, when he said a few episodes back, I think it was regarding Callum, he said, when he walked in, I could just tell he thinks he's better than me. Like that statement, him saying Callum walked in and I can tell he thinks he's better than me. That sentence right there tells you all you need to know about Rob.
Yeah.
Rob thinks that somebody walked in and, I can tell he thinks it, but why? Why do you think that? The guy just, he's got a British accent? Like, I mean, why?
It's because Rob is like really insecure about his money earning potential. Like he knows that he is ain't shit and it doesn't have that potential. Like maybe, I think it's really got to be hard for someone like Rob who has been cute or people have told him he's cute or felt cute and handsome his entire life.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's the light skin effect in the Black community, especially if he's around Black people. And like, then he's like, oh, I never felt really comfortable in the Black community because I don't know, they don't like me or whatever. And it's all that chip on your shoulder. But then on top of that, to not be successful in whatever, to not make enough money to really get the girl that you feel you deserve, it's a hard pill to swallow. So your way of dealing with that is going to be looking at other people thinking that either they think they're better than you if they're a man, or a woman that they are materialistic and not down to earth and not loyal because they don't want your ain't shit got have an ass. So,
Yeah. I like your takes on this. Wow, this is interesting. So, Rob says, Sophie and I got along great until she got to the States. Yeah, until you lived together. And he has filed for her green card. And Tarai says, well, maybe Sophie's just trying to stay in America. She's walked out more than once. Like, is she really invested? And Tarai says, the bottom line is they need to admit they don't really know each other and they just need to like face this fact, But I mean, they did live together for a couple months in Mexico and they have been together for a few years. But, when they lived together in Mexico, Claire was there. So that didn't help,
Also, she's two, she's two.
Yeah, she's very, very young.
Yeah, she's very young.
So Try says, her actions don't align with what she says, and I think maybe it's a play for a green card. And Rob's like, I know it looks whack and everything, but like I hope we can work it out. And then Try says just the deepest thought ever. Life ain't a fairy tale, my G. So, yeah. Okay. Now we're over at Kay's apartment. So Kay is pouring some wine, and Mom Claire says, they didn't make him that big when I was drinking. God knows I loved me some alcohol.
Yeah, it didn't. That this scene is not going to age well. Not aging well is what we're saying.
No.
Just like opened, uncorked wine. I mean, like everything. It's cringy. It's Claire cringy. This whole scene.
You know what else didn't age well is that hot pink wine. I'm like, what was that swill? So Claire has some sort of leg injury. She's got like a RoboCop Patrick brace on her leg. And
she felt, I mean, can you imagine what she did to get that? Can you imagine like what the night was? Can you imagine how fucked up she was? Can you imagine how, I mean, just sorry. But
well, she says it was she said it was from the car accident.
Yeah.
That John had this car accident and he didn't pay the $11 for his insurance. So that meant his insurance wouldn't pay her claim for her leg. I was like, what insurance did he has $11 a month? So
call 1-800-GENERAL now.
Yeah, exactly. And she says, I broke up with John and I said all the bad things to him and I cut him off and I told him, you don't clean your teeth at night. You're rubbish in bed. And I'm like, fuck that motherfucker. And Sophie, you should just learn from your mother's mistakes. What? John was pretty cute. I think that might be one of the best guys she's ever going to get.
For sure. For sure.
That. And Sophie was like, I'm really happy that Mom's happy with John because, I want to see her happy. This is just like toxic upon toxic behavior going on. And Sophie makes it look like she doesn't have the kind of toxic situation that she, in fact, does have.
It's sad because like Mom she grew up in Italy, but she's obviously from England. And then she was living in Mexico for a while. And now she's in Texas. What is Mom doing in life? What's her job? How is she doing this? I don't understand.
I think her father, I think her father bankrolls. I think that, and so that's why Sophie's so proud of like everything that she's created.
Yeah. So Sophie says she hasn't seen Rob since yesterday, like since they had the fight and she walked out and she needs some space to think about what to do. And she's telling them about, they went to the costume shop and it was fun. And when she sees that fun, nice side of him, she knows that's the Rob she loves and he's not a bad person. And she says, but if I decide I don't want to be with him anymore, then it's like, what the fuck am I going to do with my life? And Kay says, you're going to be happy. You don't need a man to be happy. Like, and if your reason for staying is you don't want to go home, which by the way, her home is England, then go home. There's no reason there's no reason to stay here with him.
Yeah.
And Sophie says that is part of the reason is she doesn't want to go home, but she also really loves this old version of Rob. Now, Claire says something that is pretty smart. She says that Sophie is a delusional 24-year-old girl in love, which is true. And she is going to try to change Sophie's mind. Now, I think Claire is a small part of this problem, but the main part of the problem, I think, is Rob. I mean, we agree with that?
I think it's a cornucopia of problems. Her being so young, her being from a trauma situation. I think Claire is I think that Claire has a bigger piece of the pie than just a small. I think that like what she's seen and the amount of like attachment and need that probably Sophie has underneath to like feel wanted, loved, and taken cared for and like cherished and valued is probably because of her situation with Claire. And half the time, that she airs her grievances with Rob, it's like her saying, I just want you to be nice to me. I just want you to tell me I'm pretty. I just want you, and it's like, it seems like she just wants to be loved and or cherished and or whatnot. And he, doesn't have the capacity to do so because he doesn't feel good within himself to just constantly be able to like sit and love and adoration of her. He's thinking how to get to the next. And he has this like kind of grinded into him hustler mentality that he's like the next Jay-Z and he secured his, Beyonce and he's just going to hustle and try and make it work, man. And whatever that means, like whether that's driving a truck. In LA, I assumed it meant whatever bullshit Hollywood thing, you know, like the man is attractive. So to me, I always just was like, why don't you? You should be in fucking improv classes trying to see if you could hawk, you know, like a Taco Bell burrito. Like, because the truth is he could. He has the looks for it. There is no, if this man's not booking commercial work, it's only because he is so deathly untalented and unable to put any sort of energy into the spoken word, and or refuses to like train in a class, one class, you know? I mean, I've always thought that. So yeah.
Okay. That's interesting because I think I don't know if he ever said he was in LA to be an actor. I felt like he was like, I'm a model and the economy was bad, and so I had to move into this abandoned restaurant. Like,
no.
What
You don't
model
understand.
are you? He's 5,
you don't understand.
What, 9
when
and a half?
People move to LA, when young people move to LA, they are going there because they're always going there. If they don't already have a career, they're going there to either model, act, or some combination of both, or do some kind of sports fitness modeling. There's a lot of different types of modeling you can do. Yeah. And if he was working out, like he was able to do that. Yeah. So, you know, he's from Missouri, I think, or, you know, somewhere.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He's somewhere in the like Midwest. And he moved out there no one just moves to LA unless they have a dream. Yeah. Or a job. And if you don't have a job, then you must have a dream.
Ooh.
Yeah, just
what are you, Angela?
Just like Miley Cyrus with a dream and a cardigan. All right. So mom says, Mom Claire says, do you believe that he can be that guy that you fell in love with? And if you stay with him for love, and no disrespect, some stupid bitches do that, then you have to accept he's not changing. So she just called her daughter a stupid bitch. And she says, so this is what you're going to put up with forever. And slowly and surely he will chip away at you. She said, look at your little face. Look at your little face. You're sad. And they always say that about Sophie. Look at your little face. He says that too. Look at your little face. Because she is like a little, like her little face is like a little Cupid doll, you know? And then we see all these beautiful photos of the two of them that they've taken together over the years. And she says, the person that she loves, that she fell in love, is just not there anymore. And she cries. And then she gets up and like walks out of the interview room, which is like a Marriott conference room. She gets up and walks out.
The tightest yeast infection giving like onesie.
She loves a onesie. She would make it with Thais and the peeing. Yeah. So let's go to Ashley and Manuel. Now, we love Ashley and Manuel. We think Manuel is comedy gold. We need him to just get a little bit more English and get him on Pillow Talk.
Yes. I don't think that Manuel is interested in learning English, though. I feel like sometimes he like the way he says certain words is though English is like Russian to him. Like it's just like a completely different language structure and everything. He's like, oh bullshit, all bullshit, all bullshit. All bullshit. Like I'm like, you can't say object. So he's
just learning. He's just learning.
That's crazy. I mean, I get it, but like most of the people who I'm like thinking of who's from like España who didn't speak not a word of English, or who not
Thais. She didn't speak a word. She only spoke Portuguese, and now she speaks fluent English.
Pain in my ass. Yeah. No, but Thais did speak some English when she was here.
Not really.
She could yell at John. She was yelling at John in English. Remember
when she came, she really did not. Remember, because Patrick spoke Portuguese. Yeah, I mean, not good, not well, but yeah. So they're going to see a lawyer about a post-nup agreement, and she has all her, cups that she always has, like 6 or 7 cups. He's like, oh, yeah, how much coffee you gonna have? Oh, my God. And she's like, shut up. So they go sit with the lawyer to talk about the post-nup with the translator. And she is telling the lawyer, Manuel is secretive and I need trust. And he's like rolling his eyes. And he says he did not come to the United States for money. And he should be worried because she's the one that likes to spend money. And he can't work yet. He's waiting on his papers. So the lawyer says, okay, so what do you do for work? And she says, I'm an entrepreneur. I have an online spiritual business. And I had it before we were married. It predates him. And I'm building equity. And once, now that we're married, I'm worried that he's entitled to half the value of the equity I'm building in my company. And then the talking head, she says, I love Manuel. I have no intention of ever getting divorced, but he's secretive and he demands money all the time and he leaves out details and I have a right to protect myself. Now, this did not go the way she thought it was going to go. Manuel says, I like to save money and I like to only spend it on things that are necessary. But Ashley spends a lot and doesn't like to save. So I don't even know why I make these sacrifices to save my money so she can take half of it. Like, what are we talking about here? And the lawyer goes, yep, I see this a lot, with people that have different ways of spending money. But yes, you're right. It does include assets, but it also includes debts. And Ashley goes, oh, so he would inherit half of my student loan debt? And the lawyer goes, no, because that predates him. It only is for things when you're married. And she goes, yeah, because my student loan debt's about $100,000. And when I tell you, Manuel almost threw that translator thing out of his ear and threw himself out the window.
Yeah.
He almost did like a Manuel size Kool-Aid hole in the wall.
He didn't know it was possible. He didn't know.
You're doing it wrong. What is it? No, you just said 100th, and that's not what you said. No,
he keeps looking at that guy. You guys, that guy was the star, the translator, because he kept like poking his head in the picture. Oh God, it was funny.
That's what you said.
It was so funny. So Manuel's like, what? He goes, Ashley, what world do you live in? What's yours is yours and what's mine is mine. That kind of debt would keep me up at night. And he says, I cannot believe she got herself into a situation and kept it from me. So yeah, a post-nup sounds pretty good. Yeah. So Ashley goes, yeah, but you don't understand. I have 3 degrees. And Manuel goes, which one of them apply to your job that you're doing?
All 3, she says.
All 3. What degrees does she have? Do we know?
We guessed. She has one.
Yeah. Okay, let's guess.
So she has 1 degree in
pagan arts, the pagan sciences, pagan arts. You can get a degree. You can get a master's in pagan arts. I looked it up. It's through some sort of misty woo-woo college, but that's,
Okay. Go ahead, Wa.
She also has a degree in potions from Professor Snape. So she went to Hogwarts, and so she's got that degree from,
Oh my God, that is so good.
ITT Tech. There's an ITT Tech nursing degree that she picked up once. And then, of course, the final one, her PhD from Yale in psychology.
Okay, you guys, I'm so glad you figured it out. So he says, but you have all that debt and you still spend so much money on coffee and hair and your nails. And he goes, let me tell you this. If she gets 3,000, she spends 2,000. Ask her how much she saved. And she says, sorry, guys, the dogs. And she says, I save a couple of $100 a month. And he goes, where? I see the accounts. Where is that money? And she says, listen, what he doesn't understand is I do all the budgeting and all the bills. So yeah, if $2,000 goes out, it's on bills. And he goes, I no. I don't know. And she goes, look, he's trying to put this all on me, but we're here to talk about his shitty behavior with money. Finally, the lawyer says what we're all thinking is he's not a therapist. And he goes, I'm here to help you resolve legal issues. And then he tells the camera, he's like, usually by the time people come to me, we're way past this.
That's a lie. That's a lie. He's got people yelling at him in his offices all the time. I was just I felt like he was being really fucking rude. And I'm sorry, don't, you had a whole interpreter here. He's like, oh yeah, that's none of my business. They've got a lot to work on. And I'm like, sir, you agreed to be on 90 Day Fiance. Did you not do your research? We don't need you here with your judgment and your rudeness. No, you need to be like Tyler, the flip-flop wearing, lawyer from Mississippi who helps Lindsay. You need to be like the sassy gay lawyer from Gino and Jasmine.
Yeah.
You need to be like, there is a reputation for lawyers in the 90 Day franchise or a Matt Sharp situation. And sir, this is not what the call sheet says. This is not what the script said. You need to stick to the script and give us sassy and fun.
You're right. Yeah.
He was sassy.
He was sassy, but he's like, I'm out. I'm out. Yeah. Manuel says, look, Ashley always liked to spend money like this since she's been a little girl. It's time to change. And he says, so I'll be back. The next step is to come back here and draft this agreement. Yeah. So he says, talking head, he goes, I knew she was bad at managing money, but this is another level. He says, I didn't marry her for money, but when we got married, she agreed to help my family until I could work. But I don't know how we could keep help. Did Watch just log out?
Yeah, she unfortunately had sent a message in private chat that she had a hard out.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep going then, Chris.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
here. I'm here.
All right. So, he says he didn't marry her for money and that she agreed to help the family. But he says, I don't know how we can keep doing this without going into more debt in America.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I'm upset because look at her hiding things from me, the lady that doesn't want secrets.
Wow. Yeah, she absolutely. I mean, here's one thing. And she said this, and I will say this. Unfortunately, in America, she's right. It's not uncommon for people to have, copious amounts of education debt, and culturally, it's not so shocking. It's sad. And we want to not have that. But I know that's a huge cultural difference. So I can see that.
And it's such a huge amount of money to even wrap your head around. $100,000 is such a huge amount of money. All right, y'all, excuse my voice, but I'm here to tell you about BO. That's right. I'm here to talk to you about Lume whole body deodorant. You guys, I was away this weekend in Las Vegas where it was, no lie, over 100 degrees every day. Do you want to talk about some BO? I was at a Grateful Dead show. There was BO upon BO. And all of these people could have used some Lume. I should have walked around handing out Lume to people because, let me tell you something. When it stinks, it stinks. And you need deodorant everywhere sometimes. And, thank God there's Lume because unlike certain other deodorants, Lume is powered by mandelic acid to control odor in a new way. They deliver outrageous 72-hour odor control everywhere from your pits to your feet and, yes, even your privates. In fact, it was patients' concerns about private part odor that originally inspired the OBGYN who invented Lume. You guys, at our house, we always talk about getting the chafe. And that's like at the beach in the summer and stuff when your thighs rub together and you get the chafe. You put that Lume on there, you get no chafe, and it protects the legs and also no stink in that area. You know what I'm saying? So I have a special offer for you guys. New customers of Lume are going to get 15% off all Lume products. You're going to use our exclusive code and link. So use the code PINKSHADE at LumeDeodorant.com to get 15% off all the products. LumeDeodorant.com and use code PINKSHADE. So let's move on quickly to Loren and Alexi. Now, I have said on this podcast publicly, so Kimberly, my co-host that normally does this with me, is Jewish. And so I know a lot of people have a lot of problems with Alexi's stand on things. I am sort of willfully ignorant on the whole thing because if I start to talk about it, I know nothing and I sound stupid. So I'll just say whatever Alexi's views are Alexi's views. He did grow up in Israel. My understanding from people is his views are pretty terrible, but we're literally just going to recap what they're saying on the TV. Okay? So
yes.
Yeah. Are you hearing me on that? Okay. So the two of them are watching TV. They don't say how many weeks post her surgery it is, but she's in the kitchen and doing a couple of dishes. So it looks like maybe she's able to move around a bit more. So that's good. So he says there's a war in Israel now. His mother and brother are there. And obviously it's very concerning. His dad's there with him in Florida. It's affecting them. And it's hard to be away from his mother and his brother. And it's hard that his dad is there with him. He feels very guilty. He feels very unsettled. So he calls his mom to check on her. The baby smiles at the FaceTime. It's really cute. And Mama says, last night the sirens were going off. We were running to the bomb shelter. And his dad, Alexi, who's also named Alexi, but with a Y, says, I wanted to come home, but Alex convinced me to stay and not change the ticket because he doesn't even know. Like he could get halfway there and they could say, you can't come into the country. So just stay there, for the time being. Alex reminds us for 3 years he was in the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. He's not in the reserves now, and he won't get called back. But he could go and volunteer. They need lots of volunteers for lots of things. He feels very torn. Loren says, obviously, I'm against him going back, but I could understand if he wants to. And I do understand if he makes that decision. But she's crying, talking about him possibly going back to help. He's obviously devastated by what's happening in his country. And the whole thing is rough because last week we're like happy, happy, funny with Loren in her head wrap and her muumuu. And now we're into like war crimes. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's a lot to, it's a big jump, and it's jarring, and it's their real life, you know, and it's upsetting. The whole thing is upsetting.
Yeah. I also don't need them on the show. You know, I think that we've seen enough of them as well. So
Agree.
it was a shocker to have them come back. I wonder how Nicola's doing, you know, like just never from like the super Catholic Palestinian that was dating that hottie.
Yeah.
You know? I know.
Yes. I forgot about, and God, what was her name? I can't even remember.
I know. What is her name? I'm like Nicola and hot. I mean, look at that. Remember that face? She was like a weathercaster.
And he said her name constantly. Misha.
Misha. Thank you.
What is wrong with you, Misha? Misha, you are cute when you're on mute, Misha. Misha, remember that?
Yes, I do remember this. Yes,
you're most cute when you're on mute, Misha.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to Emily and Kobe. So,
yes,
my friends. So, Bunky reached out this morning to ask me to text Emily to find out where she got her dress that she's wearing in this scene. She wrote me back and said, it is from Marshall's, girl, and from last year. And she sent me the name of it. It was funny because she's like, girl, you know it's from Marshall's.
Good
so, love her. So they're headed to the beach to meet Kobe's ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
And he's like, it's really weird that you want to do this. And she goes, no, it's not. I just want to hear the other side of the story because now I'm hearing that you were dating her when we got engaged. And he was with his ex-girlfriend for 7 years.
Yeah.
So, but when he met Emily, they were like in their late 20s. So damn, he was with that girl for a long time.
I have a question. Like, I feel like I'm not married, but if I was married to someone and I felt like we owned each other in that kind of way, like we like had, we were like committed and we had kids together, I would love to spend some time with these people, like with his like prior girlfriends and just like see what they were like, I'm too nosy. Like how do you feel about that? Like, would you be like, I never want to see them, I never want to like nail them? And like, do you know your husband's exes? Like I'm a little too like petty and or envious and or toxic to not want to know them.
Anytime I've ever seen any girl that my husband dated before me or whatever, I'm always like, really? Her? All right. Okay, great. I mean, I don't care. But he has one ex-girlfriend. This is like a long story from a long time ago. We've been married 24 years. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it. But before we were married, we dated for off and on like 6 months, and then we broke up, and he got back with his ex-girlfriend. Then they broke up, and he and I got back together, and then he got back together with his ex-girlfriend. So that happened, and then we were in our 20s, very young. So
you didn't know her? Did you know her at all?
No,
you didn't know her
no. I would.
But
not.
You had seen pictures of her. You had like or
I have. There is a picture of her in our home because it is a picture. It is a picture of Dave, my husband, and Bill Clinton when Bill Clinton was president, like just walking through one of those lines, like shaking hands, and she's in the background. And I'm like,
what a great story! This is such a good story. I'm so happy I asked this question.
And so her particularly, I don't care for since he broke up with me twice for her. You know what I mean? In her 20s.
Yeah.
Right. Her, I don't care for.
But did you ever meet her? Did you ever sit down and have a conversation with her?
No. She still lives around here. I've never even seen her. Don't even know what she looks like other than that picture from when she was 22 years old, you know? Yeah.
You never wanted to? Or it just never happened?
Both. I don't want to, and it's never happened. But any other girl that I've ever seen, like, oh yeah, I dated that girl briefly, whatever, I'm like, okay, go for it. Like, gross. And maybe that's me being cocky, or maybe that's just like, okay, well, I know I'm cuter than her, you know? And Emily probably has a little bit of that too. Like, I'd like to just see her in person to just confirm that I am cuter than her. Because he dated that girl for 7 years. That's a long time.
Like, to me, it's like, okay, I want the girl that my guy dated for a long time to be, to me, admirable. I want her to be admirable. Like, to me, I want her to, I want
I'm
to
sure
be
she's
like,
nice, but
nice, smart, has her shit together, like clever in some way, like I want those to be the case. Like I also want her to be somewhat cute. Like I think that if she was really truly ugly, I'd be like, what's wrong with you? And my God, what does it say about me? Like, so I get it. I will say this about this Emily and Kobe segment. It happens for like 3 minutes that they stretched into an entire episode.
Yeah. Yep. That is interesting. I talked to Chris DeRosa a couple of weeks ago, Fixing Famous People, and he came on and did an episode with me, and he was like, what's so interesting is he's a Housewives producer, right? And he's like, on a Housewives show that's 1 hour, we have gone through 20 scenes. We've gone through 3 parties. We've gone through, 14 costume changes and 6, talking heads. He goes, on this show, it's 2 hours long, and this one couple never got out of the car. They never left brunch. He's like, he was like, it's such a different pace. So now that he's said that, like, I really think about it, like what you just said. So she says she just wants to know if he was still together with that girl when she got knocked up. These are her words. And he goes, I was not with anyone at the time we got together. And she goes, I just want to get to the bottom of it. And he goes, we're about to get married again. And, they're already married and you don't even trust me. And she's like, I trust you, but I just want to, trust and verify. And then he says, I don't know what answer she'll be happy with. She's just so stubborn. And he laughs because he loves that about her. So these 2 girls are walking up and Emily is like all of us, right? Like, tell me now, which one is she? Which one is she? Did she bring a friend? Oh my God. Which one is she? Like, she wants to know, which is so funny.
They show her, obviously they show the 2 girls walking up and one girl in perfect, every pixel pixelating. So we know that girl signed a release. So we're like, oh my God. But that's what's annoying is literally they're sitting there. They have this conversation. The girls walk up. Emily's like, oh my God, did she bring a friend? Which one is she? Which one is she? Tell me. And then they cut. And that's like the bookend. That's the book starter of the episode. And then they go back to the end and they don't even sit down. The girls don't even round the corner. We don't even know one answer. They could have at least had Kobe be like, that's her. She brought a friend. And then have like, well, which one is it? They didn't give us one little crumb.
Right.
I think it was miserly of them.
And do you think next week they're going to be like, those are just 2 girls walking by and they're not even either one of them?
If we get sharped in that way, I'll tell you right now, I will absolutely do nothing. I'll just keep watching. But I mean, I'll be really upset on the inside, and I'll just feel the prick knowing that Matt Sharp is sharp to me again.
Got you again. He gets you every time.
I need some like Neosporin. I have so many different scars.
From Matt Sharp, our Lord and Savior. Okay, Jasmine and Gino, let's end with them. So they're still fighting, but they're getting coffee before heading to Gino's family reunion.
Right? Okay, so just before, what? Could you imagine, again, you're married, so you're the professional in this.
Sure.
Wouldn't you just be like, hey, I'm going to go to the thing I got to go to. You take it easy for the day. Why the fuck would you be going together to a family thing when this person's not even talking to you?
She wants to make sure the whole family's on her side. That's what she wants. So he says, look, I don't want tension at the reunion. That we're going to the family reunion in the park or whatever. And she goes, are you going to apologize for calling me crazy? And he goes, no, you should apologize to me. And he goes, you got Smoothie all over my brand new shoes. I only had these shoes for a week, Jasmine. And he goes, you can't act that way. That's not how a woman acts. He loves to say that.
She was like, you got in the way of when I threw my smoothie. And she asked for her black coffee honey, just like her black soul honey with liquor sugar. And he's like, can I have a lemonade? I mean, there's something about Gino, because I'm watching the Jinx, that's very Jinx-like. He's very Robert Dursty. Yes. There's a little Robert Dursty-ness about him, just like how decrepit he is. Yeah.
You're right.
Jasmine is just shooting him daggers, won't talk to him, the lips are pouting, the cheekbones are stern, she went from, again, hating his whole family to liking some of them, and then now to being like, they're going to be on my side or whatever. But
yeah, right.
That song, okay, my favorite part of the entire episode is the Down South song.
Okay, I did not notice this. I didn't clock the song. What was it?
Okay. So after they get the food or whatever they're going to do, you know, with the coffee, and which was nice at the place, when you get to order to go, they'll just be like, hey, well, while we pack it up, here's a free drink. Anyway, so then they get to the picnic area, and there's two women going, down south, harmonize. And then they're just like, people think that we're not from the South, but we're from Italy, and we mean Sicily down south. Gino likes to wear a hat. What do you think about that down south? I mean, it's like, it looks like it's like an SNL skit, like these women. And then Jasmine's like, it's always traditional that at our family reunion we play Italian music. Italian music. They do reference Italy in the song, which is in American and absolutely, but I mean, to me, it's like, yeah, it must have been an improv song. I cannot believe I heard it. I made a voice note of it.
Oh, you made a voice note of the
song.
Did you record them singing it, or you recorded yourself singing it?
Them.
Okay, let's hear it.
Now that kid is just like, I got this one bass line, honey, and I'm playing that one bass line.
I'm sorry I didn't clock this more. It meant a lot to you. I'm sorry.
It's the only thing I pick. I mean, you know, I don't watch. Obviously, I don't watch Alexi and Loren. I don't care about them at all. I don't watch Ed and Liz at all. They shouldn't be on the show. They're not even a 90-day couple. So, like, what I get, I pay attention to. And I mean, I was so mad about that song, but now I have it in my head. It's almost like the Sabrina Carpenter, like, espresso song. I can't get it out of my goddamn head.
Yeah.
Down south.
Yeah. Okay, Lord. All right. So, all right.
I love you.
So, he says, you know, they do this whole thing, and he's like, you know, I'm trying to talk. And she said, this is why I raise my voice, because you don't let me talk, and I'm always having to talk over you. And he says, you know, like, you need to appreciate me. And she says, if I hear the word appreciate one more fucking time. So she says, I left one of the best countries in the world with my family to live in fucking Michigan with a husband who's trying to control me and my life, and I won't fake being happy if I'm not happy. Fuck it. So he says, great. So they go to the family reunion where they hear some fabulous live music. And she says she loves that's what I put. I said they hear some live Italian music. And she says she loves Uncle Marco. We meet all the cousins and uncles named Tony and Anthony. And she says she is starting to feel more comfortable around Dana and his family. Cousin Dana forgot the vegan sausage, but that's okay. And Jasmine tells everyone, you know, I'm so excited because, you know, we were in Miami, and I've decided to be in Miss International World Supermodel USA Galaxy. And Gino's told me now that I can't be in the pageant. And he goes, that's not what I said. I said, that's not what I said. I said, I have to find the money. And he says it's $1,200. So Michelle, Dana's wife, goes, well, that's not too bad. And he goes, I don't agree. I think that's a lot of money. And why don't we just try to enjoy the day and not talk about money? And she says, no, Gino, your family, they need to know the truth about you so they can give us real feedback. And then Gino goes, okay. And all this is fake. They set all this up before. They told the family, we're going to get in a fight. This is what drives me crazy. So Gino says, she thinks I'm controlling her. It's not true. And Jasmine says, back in Panama, I was super independent. It's hard for me now. I was an American literature teacher for 16 years, and now I can't work or drive. And he goes, it's a process. Like, we have to wait for the process. And he goes, look, I have to drive her back and forth to the gym every day. And Michelle goes, so what? You're not doing anything else. You're not even working. And then Michelle outs him too. She goes, he just wants to do fantasy football all day. So he obviously has a fantasy football problem.
He has a fantasy problem, turns out. I mean, he's, you know, he lives in a fantasy world of both sex and football, I guess.
Yeah. And he's got a girl that's on board to do whatever, and he doesn't want the real girl. He wants the fantasy, right? Because the fantasy girl doesn't talk back, right? But the wife
Pornocchio,
does.
little Pornocchio,
Little Pornocchio. All right, you guys, even though my voice is going out, I can still tell you about Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Tropical Smoothie Cafe believes you deserve a getaway every day, not just once a year. Summer mocktail smoothies are here for a limited time at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Mocktail hour on the pool deck is just a sip away because nothing says summer like a mocktail smoothie. You guys, they have fan faves, Island Punch, but my favorite is Mango Berry Cosmo. I just got one this past weekend. Oh, so good. But if you like a mojito, they have this mocktail watermelon mojito. It's a smoothie. So good. These are just for a limited time, but it doesn't get any more refreshing than that. And it's summer, guys. We're hot. So join Tropical Smoothie Cafe for a pineapple, mango, and watermelon soiree all summer long. Grab a refreshing Island Punch, Mango Berry Cosmo, my favorite, and watermelon mojito mocktail smoothie, and meet us poolside. You're on Tropic Time now with Tropical Smoothie Cafe. So Jasmine says, well, since we got back from Miami, Gino's been very different. And he goes, well, she says so many hurtful things to me all the time, and that makes it hard for me to be intimate with her. Now the whole family, including like his nephew, just stare at him.
Yeah, the hot one is like, oh my God. That hot nephew, honey.
I don't want to, but he's like, I don't want to think about Gino doing that.
No.
So she goes, Gino, I didn't bring up any intimacy topic, but you're venting into your family. And he says, I don't want to be affectionate with somebody like that. It's not good. And I hate these words that he uses to describe her, right? Like, a woman doesn't do that. And I don't want to be with someone like that. You know, that's the way he speaks to her.
Yeah, so, by the way, supposedly they met on a seeking arrangement sugar baby site. So I don't know what the fuck he thinks. And, you know, he's an ass.
He's an ass. He is. Mm-hmm. So she says, you shouldn't bring up these issues in front of your family. And so he goes, well, so then she tells us at her talking head, Gino has a lot of deep sexual issues. And I would never bring it up in front of his family because that would hurt him and humiliate him if I told the truth.
Mm-hmm.
What else could you tell us? You already said he just opens his mouth and says, pee on me. I mean, what else could you say?
Yeah, you literally are talking about the fact that you suck his toes, he likes to be peed on, that you have threesomes, that, you know, like, together, he likes to watch, you know, we've already understood that he is, like, likes to watch and or cuckold in either way. Like, we already been knowing, you know, all of it. So, I mean, there's nothing that can shock us, you know.
The porn is the least of it.
Yeah.
So Cousin Dana goes, look, you guys need to let all this crap go. And Uncle Marco says you need to resolve it, cope with it, or end it. Okay? Thank you, Uncle Marco. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So now it's nighttime, and they've gone out to walk the dog. And she says, well, I enjoy the reunion. And he goes, yeah, it could have gone better. We don't need to broadcast our problems to my whole family, even though we planned it beforehand and told the producers that's what we were going to do. And she says, well, now your family can see who you really are. And he says, no, that's not right. My family understands that you say really hurtful things that affect my intimacy with you. And she goes, yeah, you brought up the sex topic, not me. And then on her talking head, she says, after the wedding, we were trying to have a baby and our sex life was great. And he says that I'm always yelling at him, but he's a gaslighter. He makes me yell so that he has an excuse to not have sex with me. The truth is he doesn't enjoy intimacy with me. He enjoys other things, and I feel undesired. So
the other things was when other things hit, and I was like, I guess porn or whatever, but
other things makes it sound like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Yes.
And then she says, which is what I thought the other thing was, she says, stop putting makeup on the real sexual problem that you have. But I was like, oh, he likes to wear makeup like that. But then because she said, stop putting makeup on the real sexual problem that you have, and you don't want to seek help for it because your problem is your addiction to pornography. And he goes, no, you're a liar. That's not true. You're a liar. You're a liar. Now, if we're getting into a money situation where he's spending all his money on online porn, then we may have a different issue here.
I mean, I guess I don't watch a lot of online porn, but to me,
I think it's free.
You don't have to spend money on porn unless you're spending money on cam girls, like, or whatever, like, like specific porn. But like, don't you just go get porn wherever you want, kind of free or whatever, like on the internet? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. She's very sexual though too. And they don't have jobs. So she's just sitting around the entire time, and she's cognizant of when, she's not getting fucked, and if, when he's watching porn. He should have never quit his job. That part was crazy and weird to me. Like, he should have just stayed away 6 hours, 7 hours a day, make money for her to spend. She hates this.
She can Uber to the gym.
Exactly. Yeah. Or give her one of those, like, is there like one of those motorized bikes? I want one of those bikes now, where you just like, it's like a bike and there's a motor on it. You can kind of get around. I love those things.
Oh my God. I'd love to see that going around Michigan.
So, the streets the streets are saying now.
That she's got that new guy. Yeah.
Yes. You see it. Yes.
I haven't talked to Matt since they've been on tour to find out how they were, because they came to their show.
Yes.
But I haven't talked to Matt to find out.
I know. Yes, they came to the reality gay show, and then like what seems like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks later, the people started to say that she's been doing lives in a place that's not his, and that like she keeps kind of showing someone. And then maybe like 3 days ago, the streets were like, they came out like, here's the guy, and he's the guy. The picture is hot, very good looking man.
Send me the picture, because I haven't seen a photo. So send me the picture.
Okay.
So in the talking head, he goes, "I am not addicted to porn. Yeah, I have watched porn in my life, but she just says that because she doesn't want to take any blame."
Mm-hmm.
So in the talking head, she says, "Sometimes we will plan to be intimate, and he will say, 'I couldn't wait, so I masturbated.' And it's so hard for me to understand, like, he's got a live girl here and why he would do that." And then she tells him, she was like, "Gino, your problem with sex started way before me." Mm-hmm. And he says, "You're not listening. I'm telling you the problem. And I sure hope you change your attitude soon, because all this arguing will not fly with me. You're always starting shit with me." And she says, "Now I get it. Now I get why you never married somebody from your own culture, because no American will put up with this. And I'm not going to put up with it either."
It's funny because we've heard them fight for so long, but those words seemed very poignant. Like, and then knowing again what I just said, it felt like, it did feel like, this is it. This is like the demise.
We can only hope.
And I think it's also mostly because she, for some reason, even though she had whiffs of it back then, she, for some reason, thought that he wasn't going to be cheap and stingy with her. But we knew that was going to be the case. And he is, he definitely is. He cannot afford to have a woman like her. And, they both are dumb.
I think another reason he quit his job, went on hiatus or whatever, is because they're filming this show. So why they're just not saying that, Mm-hmm. Okay, next time on 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, Patrick and Thais' family are getting together, and Thais' hot dad says, "How does Jose have the nerve to charge his own son $20,000 for his own granddaughter's birthday?"
I'm so happy. What a
great scene. I don't know what 20,000 Brazilian money is in American money. I don't know the answer. Emily and Kobe meet with the ex, but we don't see that the ex is there. We just see the two of them talking.
Right.
So we don't know if this girl shows up. And she says, "So you were not single after you proposed to me." We see Kobe sweating. We have no idea if this is all fake. If we got sharped, in your words. Manuel tells Ashley, they're in a CVS. They're in the same outfits from the lawyer's office. And Manuel tells Ashley, "My family needs money." And she goes, "Okay, how much?" And he goes, "About $300. And she goes, "Why?" And he goes, "It's not important." And she looks at him and says, "Me as familia, not as banco. I am your family, not a bank." And he's like, "Oh, I just love Manuel." So Liz and her mother go to get the rest of her things from Big Ed's house. She's not looking forward to seeing that little troll of a man, nor should she be. Gino and Jasmine seem to be at an appliance store. And she says, "A real man is a provider." And he says, "A real woman is calm and not bitchy." And she says, "Then what are you doing with me?" And he says, "Good question." So, okay, get him off our screen.
I mean, the truth of the matter is they both could say it to each other.
They're terrible for each other.
If Jasmine's like, "A real man is a provider," he could be like, "Well, what are you doing with me?"
Exactly. Amen. So Claire says, there's obviously a big elephant in the room. Your marriage is an absolute train wreck, and I don't think she should stay with you. And Rob says, but at the end of the day, it's not your decision. And she says, you are the biggest gaslighter twat I've ever met in my life. I hate him. I hate him. Angela tells Michael, you've been shady, man, doing all this shit by yourself like it's your visa only, and then telling me I can leave. Like, who does that? Let me see your phone. Let me see your phone, Michael. Okay, $30,000 $30,000K contribution. Michael, pay me. Michael, pay me. What is all this shit? And then she throws water on him or beer or something and walks off. Michael should just walk around with a permanent towel around his neck for the things that are being thrown in his face at all times.
You're absolutely right. But I just want to give you props of going right from a Claire to an Angela impression. I mean, what are you? You're like a one-woman show. I'm
a one-woman show with a terrible sinus infection.
I know, but it's doing you such a service for these. I mean, it does sound good. So because she smokes a lot of cigarettes. I mean, what do you want? Both women have weathered storms in those throats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Physically, mentally, metaphorically.
I know it.
Yeah, all of it. Chris, tell everybody here on Pink Shade about your podcast, please.
Okay, well, I would love to say it's my podcast, but I guess Wa does it too, who had to step out. But we do DocuSweeties, and we are two best friends that review all of the Matt Sharp multiverse, so 90 Day Fiance, HEA right now, of course, Lip is on, anything that comes on we do, so Toe, UK, we do Love After Lockup, we also do the bingeable streaming docuseries, so we're following the Jinx Part 2,
good.
I know, the Dance for the Devil, the 7M TikTok. We did
I need to watch that. Do you recommend the TikTok one?
You know what? It took a turn. I think it's interesting. I think that the Jinx Part 2 for sure you have to watch. Mm-hmm. We also are doing the Ashley Madison doc, and I thought that was really interesting. And I'm about to start the Ren Fair doc. So kind of the trashy cult and or the bingeable stuff. So we do all of that. We're at DocuSweeties, wherever you listen to podcasts. Of course, we have all the social medias too, on Instagram at DocuSweeties, TikTok at DocuSweeties. And we also have a Patreon too, if you want to have the visuals, patreon.com/DocuSweeties. Of course, I'm Chris Farah at Chris L. Farah, and that was Wa, just call me Wa. That's all our staff.
What day does your podcast come out?
Oh my God, we follow so many shows. We have we come out with 4 episodes a week, so it'll be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then whatever the docuseries we do. So I mean, we're just releasing.
So you do 3 on the free feed and 1 on the Patreon, like that?
You know what we're doing right now, visuals on the Patreon for the first 48 hours for sure. And some things happen for only Patreon. We have actually a live first Monday of the month, which will be tonight just for the Patreon. So,
okay.
We do it all.
Yeah, you guys, Chris and Wa, they cover a lot, and they are very funny. And so as you got a little taste here, Wa does some real great accents. She really does. She really does. And
I agree.
I love your friendship. I love your love. I think it's really cute.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we love each other. We love you. I've known Matt and Jake for a long time too. So it's just, I love this community, and it's fun to just work with your friends, obviously. And it's fun to just talk about shows, and break them down like you would with your friends anyway. So just doing this with you is a treat. What a treat.
Yeah. And you guys, I will be on DocuSweeties this week covering Ashley Madison Part 3. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was, first I started watching the wrong one. And then I was like, I can't believe everybody thinks this is good. There's all these reenactors on here. And then I realized I was watching the wrong program. So when I got on board with the Netflix Ashley Madison documentary so I could talk to you guys, I was like, whoa, this is really well done. Really well done.
Yeah. Dark. It's fascinating. It's fascinating what they did and just how it happened, and the CEO and what it's great.
It's great. Yeah. So I'll be on DocuSweeties this week, guys. So listen to me over there. And everybody follow DocuSweeties over there on the Instagram and the TikTok. And please follow me as well. I'm on a campaign to get to 10,000 on Instagram, and I'm about 50 away. So
God bless.
Maybe people will feel sorry for me and my sickness, and they will go over there and follow me. Get your cat, get your dog, get your business account, get your grandma. Everybody follow.
Yep.
Yeah.
All your Finstas.
All your Finstas, all your secret Gino porn sites. Follow me. Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. Thanks very much. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye, Chris.
Bye.
Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com.